Welcome to Korean district in Perak, where the community of Banjar have been thriving for over a century. You might be wondering, what on earth is Banjar? Well, it's not a fancy new fruit or a trendy new dance. It is also not the thing that is happening in Kelantan right now. That is Banjir. Banjar is a language spoken by the Banjar people that hail from the South Kalimantan of Indonesia in the early 19,000s. One of the reasons that we know about Banjar today is because of Huda.
Yo, what's up? It's DJ Akmal. Yo, the Banjar community in Malaysia navigates the delicate balance between preserving their heritage and adapting to modernization. Studies by Holmes in 2013 and Wardov in Fuller in 2015 highlight the dynamics of language use, while Wahab and Hashim in 2020 examines the unique features of the Banjar dialect in Mukim Bagan Serai, which is also located at the Korean district in Perak. Now, cultural practices and tradition, as noted by David and Dilris in 2006, reflects their resilience in the face of integration pressures. Through these sociolinguistic lenses, the Banjar story becomes one of the adaptability and identity preservations.
Sini.
Kalau sini orang panggil, kalau orang kita ni Banjar keluar, you know.
Tak tahu
Banjar keluar. Dengar arwah tu tonehan tu kalau Banjar keluar kita ni. Itulah kata tadi, Banjar ni banyak, ada Banjar alai, ada Banjar keluar. Keluar lah yang banyak ni. Asal daripada Banjar Masin lah kira, asal dia tok naik dulu.
Kalau Banjar alai di dalam lagi.
Kalau macam belah Johor tu banyak Banjar alai tu mana.
Kalau Banjar alai tu dia dalam lagi bahasa dia.
Bahasa dia sama je, tapi dia punya tailor bahasa tu lain sikit, dia punya cakap dia tu.
Kalau kita Banjar, orang kata ayak tu air kan. Kalau orang Banjar alai banyu.
Banyu. Dia banyu.
Well, was it confusing? Well, let me summarize for a better understanding. Basically, the Banjar language has two main dialects, which is the Banjar Hulu and Banjar Kuala. Think of them as the linguistic equivalent of classical and modern music. While both beautiful, but with their own unique styles. Then there's also the sub-ethnic groups from Matapura, Barabai, Kalua, and also, not to forget, Alai, each adding to their own spice to the linguistic stew. Yummy.
You know what? The Banjar people, especially within the older generation, can change languages like changing TV channels. One moment is Banjar with the crimes, then in Malay with the local dialects when talking to other people who can understand the Banjar language.
Research, the cornerstone of any great report, or as I like to call it, the art of politely asking strangers questions and hoping they don't lie. So, for this groundbreaking investigation into the Banjar language, we use something called qualitative method. It's just a fancy word of saying we talk to people, but not just any people. We use purposive sampling. Sounds technical, right? Don't worry, it basically means we were picky, but not in a bad way, of course. Just the kind of picky that ensures we don't end up interviewing our cousins who know nothing about Banjar.
Okay, hari ni kita cuba interview seorang yang mungkin tahu bahasa Banjar. Maaf cik, tahu Banjar tak?
Tahu?
Boleh cakap Banjar?
Banjar.
See, purposive sampling. Without it, even this fox could have been into our study. So, our method, we grouped people into generations because, let's face it, people above 60s are not going to be texting in Banjar. So, meet the first generations, 60s and above. Or as I like to call them, OGs. And yes, OG stands for older generation.
Next, we have the second generation, 35 to 59 years old, multitaskers, balancing family, work, and apparently trying to remember whether they should use Banjar or Malay for dinner.
And finally, the third generation below 35, the TikTok generation. These folks might not use the Banjar every day, but trust me, they got Banjar karaoke skills. You wouldn't believe it, mate.
By dividing them like this, we could study how language and culture shift across age groups. But, major spoiler alert, the older generation uses Banjar more. And the younger generation, well, let's just say they need a bit of encouragement.
To make sense of all of this data, we lean on some very clever sociolinguistic theories. Holmes, 2013, and Walter Van Fuller, 2015, absolute legends in this field, help us understand why languages change and how they are maintained. Because without theory, this research would just be me asking people awkward questions and hoping they won't laugh at me.
Okay, well, they did laugh there a lot. Well, but that's the beauty of qualitative research. You get the good, the funny, and the occasionally awkward.
Don't stare at me like that.
And there you have it. Interviews, observation, and a whole lot of sociolinguistic jargon later. We have got a treasure trove of insights about the Banjar language. It's not a rocket science. It's more like a community science with a side of tea and biscuits.
So, join us as we dive into the world of Banjar language, Krian District, Perak. It is a journey filled with rich history, cultural pride, and a lot of code switching. And remember, if you can't understand a word, just smile and nod. 60% of the time, it works every time. Stay tuned for more linguistic adventures. Who knew learning about languages could be this much fun?
The Sustainable Development Goals are like the United Nations giant to-do list for saving the planet. They cover everything from ending poverty to making sure we don't all melt under the sun. But did you know they also care about languages? Yes, even ones like the Banjar language, which you have probably never Googled. In this documentary, we will dive into 3 fancy sounding SDGs, which are SDG 4, SDG 10, and SDG 16, and how they connect to the Banjar language. And before you ask, no, SDG isn't a new boy band. It stands for Sustainable Development Goals. Yes, the one I've just mentioned just now. Let's break it down. SDG 4 is about education, but not just any education. It's inclusive education. You know, the kind that says, hey, minority language like Banjar matters too. Imagine learning history in a classroom where your grandparents' language is treated as important as algebra. Wild, ain't it? Then there's SDG 10. This one's like the cool activist friend of the SDGs. It's all about giving a voice to marginalized groups, including linguistic ones. Preserving the Banjar language isn't just about keeping a language alive. It's about saying, hey, your identity matters, and we're all better for it. And finally, SDG 16. This one's big. It's about promoting peace and justice, which sounds very Miss Universe, doesn't it? But here's the twist. Preserving languages like the Banjar language help us understand and respect different cultures. And when people understand each other, they are less likely to argue about, well,
Anything? So, why does all this matter? Because language is more than words. It's history, identity, and the key to a more inclusive world. Using sociolinguistic theories like language maintenance, this documentary isn't just about saving a language. It's about showing why linguistic diversity is the ultimate sustainable development hack. Turns out, saving the planet might start with saving a syllable.